In this video, we will discuss about the difference between Agile and DevOps. So Agile has been introduced in the year around 2000 as an alternate option to waterfall or a new way of doing software development, right? And it was brought into practice because of to better the relationship between product managers and developers and develop some better products. And then it continues to evolve, and it was immediately adopted and was a big evolution and a revolution in software development. Let's see what is an Agile Manifesto. Okay, so these are all guidelines which was signed by some of the experts or evangelists of agile practices. Okay, so working software over comprehensive documentation. In waterfall, there used to be an emphasis on having comprehensive documentation. You document everything, you identify all the requirements, have it listed, and then go to coding. The challenge was that some of those things may not be relevant, and a lot of time used to get spent. Whereas Agile brought in a very big, refreshing change, which said the software has to work. That's it. End of the day, the customer needs has to be met, and the software has to work, the feature has to work, so that it was more outcome focused, result oriented, and it helped to save a lot of time while taking care of the outcomes to be met. So working software over comprehensive documentation, focus on what is important. And the second one is individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Okay. So waterfall used to be linear, right? So one step after the other. If you haven't completed that step, you can't move forward. You have to complete that step. Whereas here the focus was more onto individuals and interactions. Okay, and what if an operations team is not involved in the software development, and it results in bigger challenges at the end of the when the product or the software is about to get launched, right? So the individuals and interactions are more important than processes and tools. Of course, processes and tools are important, but individuals and interactions are more important. The emphasis was on people aspect of it, and Agile started working around how it can enhance that. That's where that 2-week 2-week sprints and also 2 pizza teams and all these things came into picture. And third one in the Agile Manifesto is the customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Okay, so this is an important aspect. I mean, all these things, if you look at it, it is over, right? It doesn't mean that second part is not important. That's also important. But what is priority? What has to preempt that one? That is what this manifesto talks about. Customer collaboration. Look at customer as a friend, as a professional friend. Start working with him, understand his requirements, his pain points, his wishes, write them as stories, and then start implementing it. That is more important than contract negotiation, right? Contract negotiations are important, payments are important, terms and conditions are important, but customer collaborations is all the more important. And the next one is responding to change over following a plan. So, I mean, this came in through a lot of experience, right? You follow a plan in Agile, right? In waterfall, one step after the other. Okay, by that time, if it is 3 months or 6 months, what if government releases a compliance, or there is a economic boom or bust, or there is a new opportunity emerging? So you will still be working on the already existing requirements which is collected. This is what it says. We should be agile to respond to changes. That's one of the important aspect, and which is very practical considering the business requirement. The reason why Agile became very popular and successful. So these are all the 4 points about Agile Manifesto. And of course, DevOps was an extension from Agile or evolution from Agile. And these are all methodologies, philosophies, and ways of doing things. Okay, so Agile bridge the gap between product owners and developers. DevOps and the operations portion was missed out in Agile Manifesto, and DevOps evolved, and that bridged the gap between operations as well, so that now all the three aspects, holistically, there is an end-to-end ownership and accountability. Let's talk about what are all the important three ways of DevOps. Okay, the first one is systems thinking, understanding that software applications are complex systems, right? This is called the systems thinking. Okay, so that software applications are complex systems. There are various moving parts, and various teams needs to be involved, and they have to work together, right? That is DevOps. And when you acknowledge that it is a complex system, that gives an opportunity to break it down into simpler components and making each of them to work, right? And couple them together so that as a complex systems it works fine, right? Rather than making all the systems to work, making it to work on one shot, make smaller systems to work and then integrate them together at the end of it. This is important aspect of DevOps, and this is where it also coupled that DevOps, security, QA, all these various components, it's brought them together. Okay, and okay, I'll just explain this here. Okay, all right. Okay, so Dev Ops, and then the QA portion of it. Okay, I know the circle has to be a little bit bigger here. Okay, assume this is the circle, and this is the DevOps portion, all the intersection of it. So this can be extended to other portions as well, like security and so on, all the important parts. Predominantly these are all the three aspects of DevOps. Okay, and the next one is on the amplifying the feedback loops, improve bidirectional communication between teammates, right? We have integrated product managers and then developers. Now developers and the operations needs to be integrated, and then the customer support team. The customer is the important contributor or a stakeholder in all these schemes, right? So this is amplifying the feedback loops. There is a continuous feedback which is coming in. If you as you would have seen in previous videos, the DevOps loop work like this, right? It's an infinite continuous loop. There continues to be feedback and then feed forward, feedback, and so on. And all these phases, plan, test, all this will be continuing to go, right? So this is the DevOps infinite endless loop. It doesn't end here. You continue to work on it, you iterate and then improve. So this is one of the important aspect of DevOps. Okay, one of the ways of doing things, amplifying feedback loops and then improve bidirectional communication between teammates, right? So next one, what is the next one? Culture change, culture of continuous experimentation and learning. So this is easier said than done. In waterfall, if there is an architect, someone who decided, so this is the way it has to be done, that's the way it will be done. All the evolving systems are not considered, because you would have made some hard decisions in the beginning of the project. Whereas in a DevOps model, if there is a new feature, new release, you will be able to accommodate it, because you're not spending a lot of time on constructing all these things, right? You always have a working product in place, right? Anyway, that's a working product in previous version. So we can go and experiment with the new updated version. If it is not working, you can always go back to the older version, right? So this is about the three ways of DevOps: systems thinking, amplifying feedback loops, and then cultural change, right? Next, let's see what are the things Agile and DevOps work together, right? First one is Agile bridges the collaboration between developers and product management. DevOps also includes the operations team. This is one very big development. With these things, you are holistically bringing everyone together. Second one, the flow of software from ideation to code completion. DevOps extends the focus to delivery and maintenance. In Agile, we were talking about from an ideation to code completion, right? Because we are involving product managers and then developers. Whereas it also involves how that application performs in production, in operations, in maintenance, right? And when you go for updates, easily maintainable, right? Whether there are simple and sustainable processes or there is the software system easier to manage. So that is another what DevOps addresses, whereas Agile addresses the ideation to code completion. Third one, Agile emphasizes iterative development and small batches. DevOps focus more on test and delivery automation. Okay, so we spoke about it here, right? Test and delivery automation. So automation is an important aspect of DevOps, whereas Agile emphasizes on iterative development and small batches. So this is a very big change from what waterfall used to be, and DevOps extended or evolved Agile to its next stage. And next one is that Agile adds structure to planned work for developers. Okay, we discussed this previously. DevOps incorporates unplanned work common to operations teams, right? So Agile discusses about planned work for developers, right? Whereas in an operations team, if there is an outage, what do we do, right? And if one of the data center goes down, what do we do? So as we are working with the developers, now we are able to look at highly available application, cloud native applications, right? It is not an accident, but it is intentionally built to be available in the during the design itself. That's what DevOps have done. And also some of the high availability redundancy features we are able to bring in. And there is a separate subject called a site reliability engineering, which talks about high availability across physical layers, and also how it can be done using DNS and other things. That's a topic in itself. So we'll talk about the difference between DevOps and SRE in the future topics. So that's about it. Agile collaboration between developers and product managers. DevOps includes the operations team. Agile flow of software from ideation to code completion. DevOps extends it to operations and maintenance. Agile emphasizes small delivery and small batches and iterative development, whereas DevOps test and delivery automation. It adds to Agile. Agile adds structure to planned work for developers. DevOps incorporates unplanned work from operations side. Hope now you get an idea about how and what are the similarities and differences between Agile and DevOps, and how we can, how these two work hand in hand with each other to bring about efficiency and productivity for software development cycle. Hope it was informative. See you in the next one. Thank you.